Hello everyone. Today I am going to talk about mental health, or rather an affliction to mental health, with a focus on a specific combination that triggers mental illness or mental disorder, which is majorly in form of anxiety, depression or bipolar tendency. Now we know that the planet which represents our mind and the quality of our mind is the moon. So the moon represents the emotional quotient of every individual. And our consciousness, that is our chitta, is represented by the Dharma Trikona of Rashi chart, which comprises of the first house, fifth house and the ninth house. And apart from the Dharma Trikona, the eighth house is also important in the current context, as eighth house is the house of Nija Dosha and also the Marana Karaka Sthana for the moon. And Nija Dosha means our own karmic faults in the past lives, for which we have to see some punishment in this life. Now the dictum or the combination which gives anxiety, depression and bipolar tendency is that if a person has his moon placed in the Dharma Trikona or the 8th house of Rashi chart, then such a person will be a bit more emotional compared to any other individual. And if such a moon which is placed in the Dharma Trikona or the 8th house of Rashi chart also gets afflicted from malefic planets, then such an emotional person will be prone to having long and severe mood swings, which will ultimately lead to a mental or psychological disorder. And this will generally be in form of severe anxiety, fear, depression, loneliness or bipolar tendency. Because the affliction from malefic planets will not only damage your mind but also your consciousness, that is your chitta. And consciousness is your awareness and understanding of everything around you. So this affliction of the moon in Dharma Trikona or the 8th house of Rashi chart by malefic planets is a very serious affliction. So much so that even if the affliction is from one malefic planet, it will be enough to torment you regardless of what dasha you will be running. There will be too much anxiety or an unexplainable fear of something, or depression, loneliness or bipolar tendency. And in order to escape from this anxiety, or in an attempt to free your mind from the constant anxiety and depression, you can also end up taking drugs or alcohol. Because you will be desperately seeking some peace of mind by feeling this constant anxiety and depression, and you will find that peace and comfort for your mind in drugs or alcohol. However, drugs and alcohol is obviously not the solution and therefore is not at all recommended. Now, why are we looking at the moon for addictions is because it is the moon which has to do with what we consume. What kind of food we eat, what all things we consume, all of this is seen from the moon. That is why the moon gets exalted in Taurus, which is the second house of food in the natural zodiac. So if malefic planets associate with the moon, it will show that we are consuming bad things. So with all this information, let us see some charts now where the combination I just mentioned has given anxiety, depression and bipolar tendency to people, and such people have also become addicted to drugs or alcohol. So let us see some charts now. This is the chart of Jean-Claude Van Damme, a Hollywood action superstar. In his chart we can see that moon is in the first house, and this moon is receiving aspect from all the three malefics, that is Saturn, Rahu and Mars. So the dictum is complete. And because of this affliction on the moon, as you can read in the first paragraph, which is a screenshot of Google results, that Van Damme was eventually diagnosed with rapid cycling bipolar disorder, which is a variant of bipolar disorder in which the individual experiences at least 4 manic, hypomanic or depressive episodes in 1 year. The second screenshot mentions about Van Damme's addiction to cocaine and alcohol, and the third screenshot, which is rather a thin stripe at the bottom, mentions that Van Damme used to ingest about 10 grams of cocaine a day and used to spend about $10,000 per week on drugs. So as I had told you before, that people with such combinations can also resort to drugs and alcohol in an attempt to escape or get rid of their depression or bipolar tendency. And therefore, Van Damme had become a serious drug addict and an alcoholic. With this, let us move on to the next chart. This is the chart of Britney Spears. Moon is in the 5th house and it is receiving aspect from Rahu. So there is going to be a mental disorder in some form or manner. And as I had told you before, that when moon is in the Dharma Trikona or the 8th house of Rashi chart, then affliction from even one malefic will be enough to torment you regardless of what dasha you will be running. So this affliction of Rahu on the moon can give serious anxiety attacks, unexplainable fear of something, as if something bad will happen to you, negativity, sudden depression, and loneliness. And you will generally resort to medicines and can also get addicted to drugs as coping mechanism to deal with the anxiety you will be constantly feeling. Now, if moon is in the 5th house of love and Rahu also associates with such a moon, then the native having such a combination will also have countless or multiple affairs. And Britney Spears did have numerous affairs, and this is the list of her major partners. Now let me just skim through some more charts having the same problem of mental disorder leading to drug and alcohol addiction. And now let me take another example chart where moon is placed in Lagna, and although moon is not afflicted by any malefic planet, but it is conjoined Mandi. The abbreviation MN you see in Lagna is representing the presence of Mandi. Mandi is an upagraha or a subplanet. It is the child of Saturn and its presence is a dark spot in our charts. And in Patty Duke's chart, this dark spot Mandi being associated with moon in Lagna is heavily afflicting the mind, and this itself is a terrible affliction. And she also suffered from severe anxiety, manic depression, and alcoholism. So this was my lecture on the combination which gives severe mental health issues. If you like this lecture, you may give this video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more of such lectures, you may subscribe to my channel, and for consultations you can visit my website mentioned in the description of this video. Thank you.